We are grateful that you've decided to make a right choice by watching Flourishing Hub. Flourishing Hub is a program brought to you by Young and Flourishing Foundation. And this program is centered around empowering the youth by giving them the right mindset. So all you need is a right mindset so that you can thrive through this world. Now, Young and Flourishing is built on 4 pillars. One of these pillars is money. We all need money, but sometimes we need to be trained on the discipline and principles of money. So Young and Flourishing will train you how to work and get this money, how to save the money, but also how to invest the money, because that is the most important thing. And then the second pillar is daring. Yeah, your eyes will be opened to world-class business opportunities that so those opportunities will at one time become world-class businesses. So don't despise the humble beginning, however humble it is. And actually we are going to know by the end of this program, I believe you will now know that surely humble beginnings only give us a platform to step on. So the third pillar is strategy. We need to be strategic in life. We need to have plans. Now, if you don't have a plan, you'll be in other people's plans. So if you can't strategize your ways, then you'll help others. As they strategize their ways, you'll be part of their strategies and not your own strategy. As a young person, your mindset need to change. You have to live with a purpose. You have to walk with a purpose. As you wake up in the morning, you should have a reason as to why you walk. And now, the fourth pillar is mentorship. We need mentors, people who have been where we want to be, people who can speak to us, people who can give us direction. Now, Young and Flourishing gives you all this package. What you can do is to look out on their social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Young and Flourishing Foundation, and you'll know a lot more about Young and Flourishing. Now, I also want to remind you that on the 16th of February 2023, we all know that this is a public holiday, but it will be Janan Loom Commemoration Day. Janan Jakalia Loom, who was the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Church of Rwanda, Burundi, and Boga Zaire, was born and converted to Christianity in 1948, becoming a priest in 1954. Rising through the ranks of the church, he was appointed Archbishop in 1974, one of the most influential leaders of the modern church in Africa. He was arrested in February 1977 and died shortly after. Now, there is a reason as to why we celebrate the works of the late Janan Loom. That is why you should be on Church of Uganda Family TV on that day as we bring you a live broadcast from Kitigum, where you're not. Thank you so much for being part of us. Now, Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name, and our guest today, she's not new in this program, but she's new this year. We've not seen her. And we are grateful to have Mrs. Jackline Nanteza, who is the CEO, or the managing director of Stress-Free and Serene events. You know, that name is just eye-catching. Stress-Free and Serene events. Who doesn't want a stress-free event? Now, we have the lady herself here. Mrs. Nanteza, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, thank you so much. Yeah, taking the lifters like, okay. I'm back here, and thank you for inviting me to be here again. And I'm usually so honored to share and help in any way I can. So, thank you.
We are grateful. So how is Stress-Free and Serene events?
We are there carrying stress.
Other people's stress?
Yeah, it means we are stressed and they are stress-free. So basically we are accepted to carry that cross to carry stress.
Maybe to someone who is joining us for the first time, who missed out last time when you were telling us about the history of Stress-Free and Serene events, why and how do you come up with that name, Stress-Free and Serene Events? Because sincerely speaking, people hate stress.
I tried it out and it was too stressing. One thing I learned, I think, throughout either the degree or something, is that in this world, if you're not solving a problem, then I don't know. They've told us for a business to be successful, you must be solving a problem. So I tried it out and it was stressing. And then there were very many nitty-gritties involved in the whole event process. But the best thing was that people were stressed.
Okay.
You know, people were stressed. So at the end of the day, I was like, I am carrying stress. So let the client be stress-free. And that's how the name was born, Stress-Free. So we ran the company for over 4 years, calling it Stress-Free Weddings, until later when we were going to officially incorporate the company, that we called it Stress-Free and Serene. So Serene, first of all, I think it's from my daughter, Serena, but also Serene is calm, beautiful. Like at the end of the stress, for us, we are stress full, like we are carrying the stress.
Yes.
You are being stress-free, but then you're achieving a serene event. That's why it's stress-free and serene events.
Okay. Now I can get the name and I can see how it all comes about. And just in case you don't want to be stressed in your way in any function, do you do only weddings or all events, as long as it is an event?
All events.
All events.
Yeah.
So if you don't want stress, if you're one of these people who hate stress, then she's here right with us. And today we are looking at how to align with your purpose. Now, I started by talking about strategy, and where we always encourage you to have a purpose, to have a reason as to why you live, not to live because God has given you an opportunity to live, and then that is all. So today we want to see how to align with a purpose. And maybe to start with, we shall start in the business side. And what is your understanding about the word business as business? Because we see very many people want to start businesses. Everyone is working where they're working with a target that I want to be this. I want to start out, what people call a side hustle. I want to start up something. I'm gathering capital to start up something. So, but what is a business according to you? If someone says, I want to start up my own business.
It means you're willing to give a service or a product that is good or services. At the same time, you're earning from it. Okay. Plainly, that's how I understand this whole business thing. Before we go in who is what, employee, employer, you can be sole, you can be alone, you can open your shop and do it alone, you can decide to eat your profit, you can decide to plow back, like reinvest the profit, you can get that profit and go invest. So to me, business is when you open this shop, or when you go to someone, are you offering them a product or a service? And you're earning, it means they're paying you back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at that very point, we have a very big problem in Uganda. I don't know whether it is only Uganda or it is in Africa, where we have very many passionate people. They are so passionate when it comes to business. Someone sacrifices their money, they start up something. They start up a business. I won't call it something. They start up a business. They push on for some time, and sometimes, most of these businesses have not lived to see their first birthday. If they do, then a few will see the second or third birthday. What do you think causes this? As you who has been in business and experienced, because I remember last time you also told us that you also have fallouts sometimes in business.
Business is hard. Business is hard. There are many things that affect business. Some people are passionate. You have the idea, but you don't have the capital. This world has become a connection world. Sometimes you go and sell and sell and sell, But guess what? No one is buying because they are either loyal to other people or they are waiting for some connection to be connected, to buy from other side. Also the economies of scale, demand, supply, the currency, all those things affect you.
Okay.
So business is hard. You must be passionate about it. you must be somehow an addict of this thing to thrive through it, because the hurdles are seriously many, you know. There are many. So like you said, you need mentors, you need to ask, what do I do? If you decide to just do this thing alone, either you'll oversink in debt, then you'll get depressed, and one day you just don't open the shop, you know. So even just registering the business, sometimes you register the business and then before you know it, you go home and keep your papers. You're like, that is one step. Then after some time, you get a team, they tell you, oh, you were supposed to to do the URL returns from the time you incorporated this company. Like, but I was not working. It's like, yeah, but you see, URL doesn't know. You have to file the new return. So you're like, what am I doing? So first of all, the sensitization is not there. People leave the university. We are looking for career. We are looking for work. Along the way, we fail. We take the route for business without researching. Also, when you start a business, like when you give birth to a child, you definitely have to let them make the mistakes and what. So if you expect that child that you've just given birth to wake up and wash dishes, what happens? All the plates will be on the floor. So the problem with business is that we start on it and we immediately want to earn the following day or the following month. It can't survive. Yeah, that's what I think.
Now, we get in line with Stress-Free and Serene events, because Stress-Free and Serene events has a very interesting journey. And I could call it a success story, if you allow me. But
you.
it is because
I'm not here then.
so in line with that topic, how to align with your purpose and your experience in Stress-Free and Serene events, what do you have to say, especially when it comes to people who want to start up businesses, besides all the challenges that you've talked about?
Okay, so for me, purpose helps you draw your vision. It helps you like form your pace, where you're going to pass, and also and then even when you are struggling, it helps you come back to the same thing. So when I come to Stress-Free, how did I start? I've always been an emotional child, so I was so interested in love stories, weddings, marriages, love. So I loved so much happily ever afters. So it used to, when I got involved in these weddings, I realized the couple, they were fighting because of planning a wedding. I'm trying to show you that sometimes you discover your purpose along the way. You might be doing your purpose, but then you don't know. You discover your purpose along the way. So in the process, I told myself, how can I help these couples? But you see, in helping the couples, I did not know I had already started on my purpose or the journey. So I got involved to make sure couples are happy. I don't know what I was calling that. At first, I was just helping. I was just volunteering. And in all that, I was like, let me keep doing this. Then along the way, and I remember I used to go to church, and then church will be like, you see, you can't only pray to God, God help me. You need to get out there and do something. God will bless you through that. But then pray for a purpose-driven career. And you know, your purpose sometimes is not only about business. You can be in career, yet that is a very strong purpose. To me, purpose, you're passionate about what you're doing. You love what you're doing. You're good at that, whatever you're doing, and you're impacting on lives. You're helping people. You find peace in those hard moments. My greatest moment on a wedding
is at the end when everyone is happy, celebrating. That is where I find my greatest payment, besides the money they've paid us. That is how I tell you that this is just not a business, it's my purpose. So when I started, honestly, 1 year, 2 years, I didn't know I was doing my purpose. As volunteering, as repeating this thing, as excited when these couples are exchanging vows, and I'm like, oh wow, they don't have to struggle to worry about anything. But then it kept on pushing me. Sometimes I would give up. Then another time, another person calls you that, hey, please come, we heard about you. Then I would go running. It started to feel like God was looking out for me to do this. So obviously, I was employed as an accountant. I was doing debit and credit every day. And I'm too analytical, so I love audit. And I used to think maybe audit is my purpose. I like to be there checking in receipts, figuring out what is not right. So I used to think that was my purpose. But then I would along the way get bored with it. Yet it was not happening on this side. So from there, that's how I discovered. I remember I did a wedding and I was very tired. It had rained on me. And when I was leaving that venue, everyone had left. I didn't have a car. I took a boarder and I was going home. I'm like, but what is this? I am not even paid. I'm not even recognized. That's when I realized there's something beyond what I'm doing. Why am I pushing myself? For the people who know me, I rarely, let's say, walk. You know what? But when you find me on an event, I can like do all my gym for a whole year in one event. Like I can take how many trips, walking from venue to the changing room, to the reception. We are talking to the management. I can hardly sit. I started identifying those things that when I'm doing events, I'm working beyond who my usual personality is. I love it, I enjoy it, whether I'm paid or I'm not paid, I don't mind. To me, that's when I realized, maybe this is my calling. So, the best part of this business, when I identified this item and I wanted to turn it into a business, I accepted to volunteer. The first people I worked for, minus the previous ones where I didn't know what I was doing, that I was doing a business. When I identified this and I called it Stress-Free Weddings, I set out, I went to Centenary Park. By then you'd find very many wedding meetings at Centenary Park. I even did flyers in my own money. All this time I used to use salary where I was employed. I went to NASA, printed flyers. This is what I can do. I can help you look for service providers. And then I started saying, let me help. Please let me volunteer. Honestly, who does that if it's not your purpose or your calling?
Sure, no one.
And then you find I've not even convinced anyone. They are telling me, are you sure? For us, we don't have money to pay you. Okay, we shall see. And then I go back home, still yearning for that one person who will believe in me. So,
moreover, to volunteer.
That is how I started. And yes, today we have spread to say we are doing corporate events because we mastered the art in that humility of the calling. What purpose has helped me is that I stick to my vision and purpose. I can do corporate events, I can do all these other events, but my ultimate goal is to help couples be comfortable, not fight over because the budget and all that. That is really my and if I can do that, when I sign that contract that we are going to be your planner, I give my all. It does not matter how much you've paid or what portion you've paid. If you call me, I'm there. My brides can confess that sometimes they will ask me to do something that is not in my job description, but I am there. So to me, it's my business, but it's my purpose on earth, I think.
You still think?
Well, these things of God. You might wake up and he's like, come, I'm sending you somewhere else. I'll be like, Lord, my servant, I follow. For now, that's where I am.
Okay, so we are still looking at purpose, and we want to help a young man out there to align well with their purpose. And there are things you've talked about, things like there was a time when you even wanted just to volunteer, but people, you hardly got people who would believe in you at that point. So we are looking at a young person who has this passion of doing something, but they don't even know how to go about it. They, like we said, people need mentors, because someone just wakes up in the morning, maybe they've saved some little money that they think they can start with a particular business. So how can they go about, especially the initial stages as they're building the foundation?
The best thing about purpose is that you have to be selfless, and you have to first put money aside. Even when you're investing, try to invest within your means, because it will break your heart and then you'll start blaming God for nothing. Then place yourself in those places that will help you. For example, I started, when I attend wedding meetings, I'm like, no, me, I'm in charge of the bride. I'm in charge of the bride. From there, someone identified me. Now for them, they were willing to pay. But if I did not even force myself at an event, there's another event I did, and then the bride was like, I think I'll give you something. Then along the way, it's like, no, Jackie, we realize we don't have any budget for this. Then I kept helping, but then I got an invitation card to come and attend. I mean, we were friends. So whenever the event, then the flower girl is entering, they're heading somewhere else, they're going, and I immediately stood. I could no longer hold myself back among the guests. I went on the high table, helped the couple sit and all that, So I remember the groom asking me after changing, he asked the bride, like, I don't know this lady. It's like, oh, she's been helping me, she's my friend. That lady used to work in a bank, and I used to go to that bank so much. So that's how we had become friends. And the groom is like, okay, Nyabo, thank you so much what you've done for us. One day we shall find how to thank you. And someday he's driving his friend to the airport, and the guy's like, I'm leaving the country. I have my wedding in Fort Portal. I don't know if that groom is watching. And it's in 2 weeks, and I'm stressed. The groom, I forced myself to help on the high table. Told him, there's one lady I know. Just call this lady. When the moment you come back, call this lady, go there, meet this lady, and you find out. So I remember that client who I just forced myself to do something has so far come out, like we've had like a ripple effect with referrals. Like we were taken to Fort Portal, from Fort Portal we're doing some other MD's event like that. But it all started by, I was invited to the wedding. As I sat back and things are not going right, I just stood and went I work. So when it comes to this purpose, it's not how much you saved. That's the difference that's a difference from this business that you start with a well-written proposal, then you go and tell people, I want to start this business. I think sometimes purpose just looks for you. I think it looks for you. It's not something you sit down and you're like, I have this idea. Have you ever found yourself doing something, Also, in career, I've seen people serve the same line. I mean, we have very many lawyers. You cannot smell their office. Smell their office. Unless you go through the PA, you make an appointment, and then you pay a consultancy. But my lawyer taught me something called pro bono. I learned that word from him. I'm like, what's pro bono? It's like, there are these services, there are these cases, you just go, even when you're not going to earn, you go defend this person. So someone can be actually a lawyer, it's your career, but you're helping. Once in a while, you go and defend a homeless lady who cannot afford. And what is your purpose? You love being a lawyer. God has blessed you, you've learned, you've researched. So you go out there and even help people who cannot even afford you. So in that same way, you're doing it as a career, but then it's also your calling. To me, I align purpose and calling in that same way. So you can do this business and you're doing it chimafia way. I don't know if that word is there. Like, next, how much, cash down, don't reach me before you pay consultancy fee. But then there is when you're a doctor and you come out, you're like, no, let me help you. Some people run clinics, they are doctors, and it's just career. Then there are some people who are doing these hospitals, and it's a purpose, and it's a calling. They selflessly give themselves. Aligning your purpose to your business, to your career, is crucial. Most of the time when you're doing this business and someone tries to deviate you, you will remember what is your purpose. I am here to help. So you will not wait for your assistant to tell you that there's someone there. You will stand and go and help.
We are looking at how to align with your purpose. And we are here to celebrate someone who lived his purpose. That is the late Archbishop Jackline Nanteza, who is always commemorated on the 16th of February. You might be asking yourself, but what is so special about Jackline Nanteza? Now, just a little about his biography. He was born in 1922. He converted Christianity in 1948, becoming a priest in 1954, rising through the ranks of the church. He was appointed Archbishop in 1974, one of the most influential leaders of the modern church in Africa. He was arrested in February 1977 and died shortly after. Although the official account describes the car crash, it is generally accepted that he was murdered on the orders of then President Idi Amin Dada. Since 2015, Uganda has a public holiday on the 16th of February to celebrate the life of Jackline Nanteza. And he was the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Boga, Zaire. So this year's commemoration will be held in Muchwini village in Kitigumu district. But don't worry, we have Church of Uganda Family TV, and just to let you know that the team is already on ground. The team is already in Kitigumu, ready to broadcast the event live. So all you need to do is to keep your eyes on Church of Uganda Family TV. Now, continuing with Flourishing Hub, today we are looking at how to align with your purpose. Archbishop Jackline Nanteza aligned with his purpose. That is why we celebrate him. So, Mrs. Jackline, before the break, there is something I brought on board. You know, we go to very many places. You might be going to a shop, you want to buy stuff, and then there is a way the attendant backs at you, or you go to a salon and then you realize that the attendant or there is a way they treat you and you come out grumbling sometimes. Should we assume that these people are not doing what they're doing with their passion, or they're trying to force this onto their lives, but it's not their purpose?
First you said attendant, right? Yeah, obviously the attendant is an employee, so the purpose is not theirs, the vision is not theirs. At the end of the day, they just came to earn money. Okay. So, but if you find the owner of the business doing that, I wouldn't go first to blame them. Sometimes people are frustrated, struggling with many things, and they do not know how to balance the emotion. But also, then there's when someone is plain and they do not, basically, they don't have passion for this thing, like you've said. So, but it wouldn't be the first way of judging them that maybe you're not passionate about this, maybe you this is not your calling, you're just in for the money. Sometimes the day is bad, honestly. Sometimes the day is bad and you break down. So sometimes you can, it can go the wrong way. But when you sit back, realize if this is what I want, you still have to get up. So every day you fall down in business or in career, if this is your calling, you'll stop looking at what the other person did to hurt you, either the customer or your colleague at work or associate. You'll still come back. you still come back. But if it's about, I'm not making profit, and this is not your purpose, this is not your calling, you close shop. If it is about, I'm doing it for someone, it will bore you. And if it bores you, you won't perform. So people react differently, because I wouldn't say it's not because it's their calling. Yeah.
Now, let us look at people. Because, like you say, that when we are working for other people, sometimes our main purpose is to earn. So, no matter how we treat your clients, after all, at the end of the day, all I want is my salary. And now we want to look at people who have that mentality, or who have groomed their career life that way. But then time comes when they feel they should start up something, but they have not changed their mindset over that. There are these people who lack reception. They don't know how to welcome, how to maintain customers, how to, like you say that in your business, most of the clients you get are out of referrals. But we have people who are like, sincerely speaking, if anyone asked me about this business, I don't think I can recommend you. Why? Not because they offer a poor service, but because maybe it is because of some of these other things like the reception and what. What do you have to say about that?
Everyone is work in progress. In life, everyone is work in progress. How we react, that's why even you go for a job interview and they ask how many years experience. Probably I'm this calm because this year we are making 10 years. And in office I usually have one highlight. I usually tell my people, choose your stress. Sometimes you find them worked out. I've called this person, and I'm like, choose your stress. Why are you we have bigger fish to fry, I am looking at the full day. Is it going to be a success? Is it going to be? So sometimes I do not let one person put me down, but the experience has had to humble me to that. So whether you're working somewhere, I've been employed, and I cannot say that maybe one day I didn't do something wrong or something, but all those things mold you into a better place. And if you can't change will change you. So if you're at someone's workplace, they've given you a job with the many people. I don't know, I saw many graduation photos today. Many people have graduated,
and many are still coming,
or they're graduating this week. And then I went to some other office and the man told me 0.0011 will get that job. And it hit me. So if you think it's actually an honor someone to ask you to come and work with them. Like you've heard these days, there's even a lot of people who want to volunteer.
Yeah.
So you better handle that ministry that they've given you. You see, the moment you say the word ministry, people think maybe you're in church, you're preaching, or even whichever department you're placed in, it's a ministry. And God will reward you basing on how you handled that ministry. When I placed you at this table as a receptionist, how did you welcome people? So somehow it will flip around. If you did not welcome people well, you'll start a business, and then you'll see your employees, people that you've brought in to work, do the same thing. Or you'll go somewhere to sell your business and you'll not be treated well. So like I've said, work in progress. I just pray that you have the conscience to always review your day and know what you did right and what you did wrong, so that you act better the following day. This is a hard world. It's not time to be judgmental.
You told us that business is really hard, and you're celebrating 10 years.
In October.
In October. So those are around 6 months from now. 8 months, but we shall be there still. So all these 10 years, and taking on people's stress and what, I believe that you have encountered some downs, but you also have reasons that have kept you moving. So maybe at this time, share with us some of the knockouts that you've encountered as stress-free and serene events, and how you have handled them to help you stand a strong business up to now.
Well, like I've said, business, there are many things that will affect you. Your personality, capital, economies of scale, your team, and also when you actually get a project, and you know a project, you're depending on service providers, you're depending on other things, and then they don't work out. I don't know. I've had hard days on site. And sometimes you can't breathe. But I don't know why I usually walk away happy when my client is happy. One policy is that I never want to go. We do reviews, but for us, because I want my team to learn from the mistakes they've done. I don't want to go and start bickering about that problem in office. Site is a hard day. For example, an event. Site day is a hard day. I don't know how many times someone can run. They are short of fainting, you know. So once we are done like this, I never want to. I just celebrate when the photos come out and what. But also business, sometimes you struggle in looking for business. You struggle in terms of capital. One thing I do is I pray and believe. I just know that there's nowhere I can be rescued from. I know that every blessing, even me being called back here for this show the second time, to me I feel it's usually God opening doors. When something doesn't work out for me, for example, you'll hand in a bid and then the results come out, maybe they didn't select you. Even when I gun all my efforts to that bid and it doesn't work out, I allow myself to go through the pain, an hour, a day if it's that bad. The following day I just have to re-strategize, come back to the drawing board. All this has I don't know, I think I've survived this because I just feel this is where I belong. That's why when you do a business and you're not passionate about it, or you're not sure that this is where God has called you, you immediately start thinking of something else, you know. So most people will open business, they're like, no, you know what, maybe let me try abroad, or maybe let me go back and apply for a job. I don't know, now I stopped. And funny enough, in the business world, I've started meeting all these people, you know, when you're looking for connections for a job application, like, do you have an uncle in this office? I don't know where all these people were back then. And there's a man I interacted with and used to be a head of HR, and I'm like, I used to look for jobs in these places, apply. But now here we are, and guess what? I don't want a job connection. Now I want a business connection or associate. So you just have to pray God to guide your steps, but be disciplined. You make mistakes, learn from them. Obviously, there are things that run a business: finances, a team, strategy, commitment. They tell you that when you're employed, I see people write that my boss is now seeing the rain. Can I dodge? When you open your own business, you'll go through that rain. I can sleep at 2 a.m. from a site. Basically, I don't sleep. Go home, now pack up to now come and start the site day at 3 a.m. and run that day up to midnight. Normally, when you're employed, you're expected, you'd be like, but it's not yet 5. Why are they calling us? No, it's not yet 8. Why are they calling us to work? Oh, it's 5. Maybe you're the first one on the door. So when you open your business, commitment. My policy is I am hands-on. If I enter office and I expected a letter to be typed and it's not typed, I'll go on the laptop before I even start complaining or asking who was supposed to type it. And I type it and I send it. Because I believe if I lose the business, this person might not mind that much. So, I don't know. That's how I've survived.
Okay. Now, as we draw closer to the end of this show, what encouragement do you have to for someone or a young person out there who is watching us, who is trying to discover his or her purpose?
Purpose, the point is, what do you love doing? How, before you create the idea of earning from something, ask yourself, what do you like doing? What is that job that gives you peace? Does it even impact on this society? So, either as you're employed or I don't know, whatever you're doing, for example, someone loves baking, so they first say every day they're in the kitchen baking for just people at home. But you see, no one is paying them, no one is asking them to. They start committing to bake. They bake, then let's say there's a family event, they're like, no, don't worry, I'll bring the cake. You forget in that process you're practicing. By the time you say you're writing a business proposal, you have seen the ups and downs of baking. You have seen how much electricity you need, the ingredients. You've made losses. If you start out like that, it helps you start a purpose-driven business. I think that's what I would call it, a purpose-driven business. It did not start from you earning money. Someone might be helping children. They like children, they're always around children. Then they're like, no, bring all your children, slumber party. You carry all cousins or babies to your house. You are patient with these kids. Sometimes I'm not that patient. Like I want kids in line. We are watching TV. It's time to shower. I'm such a kind of... So you wouldn't find me starting a school. They know it. So start. You're collecting these children in the neighborhood, or for your siblings. Then you're like, I'm taking them for bouncing castle. You are able to run around. No one is paying you. No one is asking you. Later, when you start a school, you have learned the children behavior, the language. You love it. That is when you write the idea, let it always come from something you have practiced, you have researched effortlessly, not waking up over want to do a business proposal, you're online, you're Googling, you are finding things that people, they're called people's findings. You get to your own findings. The only way you can get to your own findings by practicing this thing effortlessly. No one is paying you. No one is asking you to. You're committed. Whether baking, whether wedding planning, whether decoration. Start with your house. Before you run to China to import things and then you look for customers and you can't find them. To me, that is what I call a purpose-driven business. So when you start, you will accept even the losses time because you went through losses without unconsciously. So when you now invest in money and get losses, you'll still be strong to move on. You're like, I know this thing can work. With a business, you must have an ounce of energy to still push you even when everything says don't go.
Wow. You should have something that pushes you, that makes you wake up early in the morning, something that reminds you to walk even when it rains, even when it is raining cats and dogs. Wow. Mrs. Jackline, at this point, we want to appreciate you for being part of Young and Flourishing Network and your services with Mr. Herbert Sabiti and over 40 other mentors.
Thank you.
Are highly appreciated.
Thank
now,
you.
As we appreciate you, I cannot just let you kindly give a motherly word to an African youth out there who has been watching us this evening.
Okay, the thing is that one advice I usually give is avoid the pity card. Avoid the pity card. The world is hard. There are days I have struggled and probably I'm in the car driving and I look aside and there's a taxi going by and people are looking at me, and in my head I'm like, they are admiring me, but they don't actually know what I'm going through, what I'm struggling, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's spiritual. So every youth should avoid the pity card. The truth is that the world is going to throw you down. God knows I have had my share. But if I was to see it and I'm like, okay, I'm the one who is like this, who went through this, I don't think I would be here today. And unless I tell you my story, you might think it was just an easy ride for me to be here. So the youth of today, the world is hard and it's not about to be easy. You need to strive above the pity card. Everyone is going through something tough, so it's not going to be easy. When you look at someone driving, when you look at someone talking right now on TV, well, I don't know, whoever you admire, and you actually think it is okay. By the way, these greatest businessmen and women, I've interacted with them, they don't sleep. So are you sure you really want that big business?
Are you
the
ready?
Phone is ringing off the hook. Is that the kind of life that you want? So before you start, maybe that person is lucky, maybe they were born in a very nice home, maybe things were handed over to them. Avoid the pity card. Embark on your journey, embrace the Lord, you will reach far.
Wow. Now, on embracing the Lord, I want to thank you once again for being part of this show this evening. And also, in a special way, I want to congratulate all the students of Makerere University who have graduated today and those who are yet to graduate. I want to congratulate my little sister, Florence Ndagire. Congratulations. Thank you for not eating Mzei's money. But also I have a list, Emmanuel, my friend, Mike Oturu, Toby, Patricia, Vero. Thank you so much for studying and going through the hardships at the university, at the Ivory Tower. And congratulations to you. And may God bless your new steps. God bless you. Next will be evening prayer. But remember, we have Good Morning Family tomorrow from 7 to 10 a.m. So you shouldn't miss it. God bless you and good night.